So in a previous video, I hinted at upcoming projects for you regarding this particular GitHub right here, the Chicken Man game, when we stole the password list or one of the password lists from this game. So my parts finally came in and I wanted to show you or take you through the steps of actually setting up this game. Now, this is going to be a prerequisite video for another upcoming video on, you guessed it, Wi Fi hacking. But enough with hinting about upcoming videos. Today's presentation is going to be about setting up this particular game and using it. It's relatively simple to set up and fun to use. In this presentation, I'm going to take you through setting it up, but there's a few things we need to cover first as far as supplies. The supplies you're going to need are two ESP8266s. One will be the access point or Wi-Fi server. The other one will connect and act like a client to the server. These two devices work together to make a fake network for users to attack. The next supplies you're going to need is a breadboard, resistors, jumper wires, and LEDs. In this video, I am going to partially gloss over the setup of the resistors and LEDs, but because they do not necessarily apply to my end use case, it would be nice to have the supplies for you if you do intend to use the LEDs at a later date. Pictured in the right hand lower corner is a nice set that'll allow you enough stuff for all of your projects. I will provide affiliate links in my description for both the ESP8266 and the jumper wires, so you're able to order all needed supplies. So the first thing we need to do is we should read the entire README section for the game. But I've already done that, and I don't really care to do it in this video. This game was originally meant to be done with Raspberry Pis running Kali Linux using SSH or VNC. We're not going to cover that process today. I may cover that process in the future. Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know if you want to see a video about installing Kali on a Raspberry Pi. So we're going to keep scrolling down and we see some more information, and now here we get to some setup directions. The first direction that they're going to tell us to do is to download the zip file from the Git repository, which is the GitHub, in a terminal window. Well, we don't really need to do this in a terminal window. I'm going to show you how I did this on Windows without getting into all that fancy fun stuff. So it's pretty simple. We're going to go all the way back to the top here, and we're going to click on this code button right here, and that brings the drop down, and we just click download zip. Now, this will bring this screen up. We just press OK like we normally do, and that'll download it. Now, we can go ahead and show in folder. And here we go. You go back to our downloads, we can extract it, and there you go. Here's the Chicken Man game here. So let's scroll back down, leaving that on the screen, and unzip the folder, the Chicken Man folder to your Raspberry Pi. Copy the Chicken Man folder to the Arduino folder of your computer. So we want to take this folder here, and we want to copy it, and we want to head over to our documents folder, and then we want to copy it right here. Now, this is just a good way of keeping everything organized. If you have a different place you want to put this, feel free to go ahead and put this there. Now, with that done, we can go ahead and close out of these windows or leave it open. I have another one right here because we're going to need to go to that Chicken Man game folder again at step 5. The next step is going to be installing Simple CLI. So Simple CLI, in these directions, we are supposed to go to a GitHub and place that in our library. We don't have to do that. What we do need to do is just go ahead and copy this, and we're going to open our Arduino IDE, and we're going to go here to Sketch and include libraries, manage libraries, and we get this screen. It's gonna update libraries. Now that it's finished updating, we'll just paste it here and press enter. And you see Simple CLI appears. All you do here, and I've already done this, is just click install. Installing the Simple CLI will take a couple of seconds, and then we can just close out of the library manager. Now it's time to go back to our Chicken Man game, and we're going to open the INI. Here's the Chicken Man game open. We can go ahead and close this window, get it out of our way. For our directions, if we haven't used the ESP8266 before, we need to go add this JSON file to the board manager. To do that, we're going to go File, Preferences, and right here, Additional Board Manager URL. You highlight this and try to right click on it, nothing happens. You have to press Control V and it will appear. Then we can just go ahead and simply click OK. Now that's added. Now we go back to where we got our libraries and manage libraries. And we're going to enter this ESP82. Oh, excuse me. We go to Tools, Boards, Board Manager, and let that update. Then we're going to go add the ESP8266. As you can see, I've already installed it again, but that will appear and you just press install and let it go. Now we need to add the Neopixel library. Now I am unclear whether we need this for every setup or just if we need this for using their Easter egg. So there's kind of a cool Easter egg built in to this setup, which allows you to run the Neopixel strip. But regardless, let's just install it, and you can let me know in the comments whether you installed it and it wasn't needed, or rather didn't install it and wasn't needed. But to do this again, we're going to go to include libraries, manage libraries, and we're just going to paste this in. And the library we want is the third one here that appears, the Adafruit Neopixel, and it's by Adafruit. And we just click install and it'll install. And then we can go ahead and exit out again. The last step is to select the board you have. Now, this is where things get a little tricky. So, the directions were meant or originally written for the WeMods or WeMos or Node MCU boards. There's a lot of generic boards on the market today. In fact, if you click on the links in the description, you're going to find a generic board. So I'm going to show you how to set this up with that board here in a second. It is also my understanding, even if you had the Wemos or Node MCU board, this step still needs to happen. Let me know in the comments if I am incorrect. So, what we need to do for the generic board, and quite possibly the other boards, is we need to install a driver on Windows so Windows knows how to communicate with these boards. To do that, we head over here to the Silicon Labs website, and I'll go ahead and put this link in the description. But this is the page you're looking for, the CP210X USB to UART bridge VCP driver. Now, this is what it brings up. We click on download, and we're going to go down here, and this is the driver I installed. It works. You may be able to use the Windows driver, but this is the one I used. So download this, install it. So let's head back to our tutorial or directions and get back to following the Arduino setup. So now the next step is going to be to connect our board via USB, and the USB plug goes in right here. Now notice there's two boards here. You're going to need two boards. And although I'm not showing you heavily on the LED setup today, there are some LEDs that go along with this setup that make it fun to use. I'm less concerned about that because I'm going to use this in like a competition. But we'll get to that in a future video. So back up to this, plug in our USB, and then we're going to open our Arduino, and we're going to hit Tools, and we're going to go down Board Manager. Now you see this ESP8266 board has appeared. We're going to select Generic. Now, my computer showed me two separate COM ports, COM1 and COM3. To decipher which COM port I was going to use, I opened Device Manager. You can get here however you choose, but here we are at Device Manager, and I went to Ports, and you can see the Silicon Labs driver right here, and it's on COM3. So we're going to go ahead and configure COM3. Make sure COM3 is configured, and then we can go ahead and click upload. Clicking upload will do the verify process as well as communicate with the board. This on a decent computer will take a couple of minutes. Here we go. We see the uploading process happening. So now it says that it's completely flashed. So the next step is going to be to open our serial monitor. This is the reset button right here. Take note of that because in a second we're going to need to use that button. We're going to go here, and I always lose. There's the serial monitor. Here's the serial monitor. Go ahead and press reset. Now we're going to be able to talk to our module, our 8266, and it's going to give us some information. You can see here, this information that it gives us is channel, chicken ID, mode, which is easy, and it gives us an IP address. We can head over to that IP address to do some additional configuration and setup, and we're going to do that fairly soon as part of that future video. But right now, this pretty much tells us that it's set up with one additional step. That step is going to be to jump D7 to ground. This puts one of your boards into the client mode or chicken man mode. This allows you to have a client and a server for DDoS attacks. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation of setting up a Wi-Fi target using an 8266 and the Chicken Man game GitHub repository. Have a good night.